So a lot has happened since I put out my last video. This video made the rounds and landed in the laps the guild it was about, and specifically some people who were previously in the guild, which I purposely tried to hide. It's not Hog Crankers or Sinner's Domain, okay? Relax. I was trying not to blast the full guild, but more the guild master and certain officers who know who they are and have also commented on the previous video, while also throwing shade at mass invite leveling guilds, I think rightfully so. Which I got a lot of feedback from people, like this person, who says, nothing is more annoying in retail than doing a Mythic Plus raid on a guildless alt, only to be met with guild auto-invite spams in the middle of a boss. It's truly an experience I haven't thought about and just adds to the frustration and plague of these kind of guilds. But okay, let's try and tackle one thing at a time here. I wasn't surprised that a lot of people have similar experiences. Lots of guilds are just made for the wrong reasons. The video's success led to a former officer of the guild in question to reach out and share their experience they went through, and it was kind of jarring because it's basically a repeat of exactly what happened during my experience. This officer was in the guild from the start, and their departure took place during Phase 2, right before Phase 3 came out. Officers are tasked with all duties and priorities of the guildmaster. The guildmaster deems himself as just the head of the guild, but when officers made decisions that changed or altered anything he disliked, he moved in with, I'm the boss. It honestly sounds like the guildmaster just handles everything as pure business, which is a shame. You're missing out on the point of MMORPGs completely.
We suck again.
There is no reason to concern.
What do you mean?
You don't believe it.
This is a social game, and the GM and certain officers have some interesting social skills, to say the least.
Oh, her backstory? She has huge fat tits. Yeah, Succubusty, she's a human female, big boobs, so... And she's a warlock.
I didn't go over the fact that the GM in general is just a bad player. He's always keyboard turning, standing in things, though I probably just assumed most people would get that through his other actions. He'd probably have more leeway with his style of doing things if he had the skills to back it up. Maybe. But, nah. And this was part of the big stride from the former officers in Phase 2. This dude went out of his way to make sure not to include people he deemed as unworthy, but the officers were dragging this dude's dead body around most of Nomer content. Even though he insists on being the main tank and raid lead, of course, it's always the need to feel important. They basically put him in a corner and took him off as main tank and eventually finished Nomer. Everyone in the raid does not want to raid with him and make it clear they won't be doing any Nomer runs if he's part of the group. The man who wanted to pick and choose and gate people from playing with him or being part of the good group was on the flip side of things. He goes to make his own raid, which never really finishes Nomer, and this makes him upset, of course, and tells the former officer she's hogging all the good players, but players just don't want to be around him. I know what that's like. I was told yelling at his wife for not having a sauce with the chicken fingers she makes him is a thing that happens. He's based.
Say what about the sauce? No sauce?
So at this point, many people don't want to be in the GM's group, so he brings up the idea of a DKP system to encourage raiders to go to his raid. But that didn't really work either, big surprise, and eventually comes down to no more encouraging, it's enforcing now. The former officers group was to be disbanded, and the players were to be distributed into the groups that were still struggling. So, basically his. And this is when most of the officers leave, take the raiders they had with them. Like I said previously, it's just a repeat of basically what happened in Phase 3. With everyone excited and active with each new phase and season of Discovery, I wouldn't be surprised as everything goes back to the way it was with a new influx of players.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Rest assured, this will be my last video on this specific topic. Will there be more WoW drama videos in the future? Possibly. But drama content like this isn't something that happens every week, especially an experience like the one I had, but onto the other topic of this video. Whoops. Phase 4 was announced, and a lot of details have come out. I think World Bosses being instant and available to everyone is the most underlooked addition. I've done World Bosses in Classic Vanilla, and in the Burning Crusade as well, so I know what they're like, but those experiences aren't relatable to the common casual player. These bosses usually had a couple really good pieces that were in high demand, and had mechanics that were unique to them in their current expansion of the game. but originally they were reserved for the more sweaty type of guilds that could log in at degen hours and get lots of people online to kill them. A great change for all players, myself included. The conditions needed to actually engage and fight a world boss were always just annoying. The COVID era of WoW gaming is long gone. The top level dungeons are becoming available as we level, but unfortunately I haven't heard of any changes to the upcoming dungeons, so I assume they're going to be in their normal states. Which, unlucky for the dungeons. Our power levels have skyrocketed and these dungeons are just going to be steamrolled. I already know of a group of 2 people just duoing Skullomance at a great pace. While adding tokens to the killed bosses makes the dungeon more engaging, I feel like it's going to feel a bit underwhelming to do these dungeons. But maybe that's okay, because, I don't know, not everything needs a difficulty spike. Loot is loot. The set bonuses look nice, but that's probably the most interesting parts of the new loot provided. We've already seen this with SOD between each phase that while loot may look nice on paper, once it's finally in our hands and tested, it's a completely different story. This is my biggest gripe and the worst thing announced with Phase 4. It's the twice weekly raid lockout. The raid resetting Tuesday and Saturday. Might seem cool to the people who want to raid more often, but it comes with a lot of negatives. First off, for those in the Tuesday-Thursday guilds, which I think is considered the norm nowadays, are you now asking your guild members who can raid Saturday, Sunday, or Monday? The simple answer is, it's not mandatory, your guild doesn't need to do an extra raid. Just shoo away those thoughts and fears of missing out on extra gear, but it's easier said than done. The guilds that raid out of the norm are potentially more screwed over. If your guild raids 2 days and one of them falls in between the Tuesday through Friday and the other day is sometimes between Saturday through Monday, then you're going to either have a bad time or gain the most benefit from this change. See, if you're a guild that can clear all raids in one night, it's a benefit. But if you're a guild that needs both days to clear, then you're going to either need a new raid day to finish the progression, or each raid night will consist of killing the same bosses in order to progress further. Also, if you do plan on taking advantage of both lockouts, be prepared mentally and financially. That's another lockout for full consumes and full world buffs. With hitting level 60, we're going to be collecting 2 more world buffs, the Sun buff and Dire Maul buffs. I absolutely dread getting world buffs. Getting them twice a week is a nightmare, which is why I usually just stick to playing one character. Molten Core is big on fire res, so 2 raids of Molten Core a week. Greater fire protection pots are going to live rent-free in your head and everyone else's head for a while. Get used to them and make sure you buy a ton of elemental fires and Dreamfoil before Phase 4 because the price is only going up. And if you're someone who plays on multiple characters and raids on those characters, I salute you. I think Blizzard missed the mark completely on this one. SOD is seasonal and has so many systems in place for people to level alts. For the players who really wanted to raid more, then they would just do so on their alts. That's like how the game is structured right now to its core. And this decision is mind-boggling. But I hear you. If you don't want to get double the world buffs, double the consumes, or double the rating, then just don't. No one's forcing you to. But, I'm sorry. The WoW community isn't ready for that option. It will never be ready for it. Either way, I'll still play it. Hopefully it'll be more fun staring at the color orange and red this time around until Blackwing Lair is released. Anyways, as they say, goodbye.